Hello, my name is Elkrief, and in this video I'd like to talk about why you don't have to fear getting hurt or getting rejected or those types of things. So as I work with people and even as I watch TV, I'm constantly seeing that people are afraid to love and open up because they fear getting hurt. So the purpose of this video is to show you really have nothing to fear. So first I'd just like to break down our current fear of getting hurt. So why do we feel afraid of somebody rejecting us and hurting us? Well, at the base level, it's because we believe that they have the ability to hurt us. Right? We believe that they have the ability to emotionally hurt us. So why would we think that? Well, it seems obvious based on past experiences. Right? But if we look at it a little bit closer, when someone compliments us, we generally immediately feel a sense of pleasure. And then we attribute our pleasure to the compliment because it happened right afterwards. Or when somebody rejects us or insults us, we immediately feel bad, sad, hurt, or something like that. And then we conclude the compliment or the insult created my feeling. But if we examine that a little bit closer, we might come to a different conclusion. That there's actually something in between the other person's actions and words and our feeling. So let's look at an analogy or a hypothetical or something. So imagine some stranger who you think would be really untrustworthy, really unlikely to trust. Maybe that's a politician, a homeless person, a salesman, a teenager, whatever it is for you. Just take a moment to imagine it. And then imagine you're walking down the street and this untrustworthy stranger approaches you and said, "You're so amazing, kind, caring, smart. I love you." How would you feel in that moment, do you think? You would probably feel maybe a little pleasure, maybe, but it's very unlikely to have a strong emotional impact on you. Now let's imagine another scenario. Imagine you're dating somebody now for a few months and you think you're falling in love with them, but you don't know how they feel. And then your partner approaches you and says, "You're so amazing, smart, kind, caring. I love you." How would you feel in that moment? You would probably feel pretty wonderful. It would probably be a very strong sense of joy and happiness. So let's break down those two scenarios. What's the difference in those two situations? In both those situations, the exact same words were spoken to you, but yet you likely would have experienced very different emotional reactions. So if the words themselves, "You're amazing, kind, caring, I love you," created joy or pleasure, then it would have done the same thing when the stranger said it to you. So if it created completely different reactions, why did it create different reactions? Why did the words have such different emotional reactions? Well, the reason is you only believed one of their comments. Since the stranger never interacted with you before and you didn't trust them, when they speak these words about you, you don't believe them. You know there's no basis behind them. And that's why you wouldn't have much of a reaction at all. On the other hand, when your partner tells you these wonderful things, since they interacted with you a lot and they've been around you a lot, you're much more likely to believe them. And that's why you experience the joy and the pleasure. That's why you have an emotional reaction. So what that means is that words themselves can't create emotions. Other people themselves can't create emotions. The emotional reactions that we experience are reactions to our belief. When we believe someone's words, that's when we feel an emotion. The words themselves don't do it. We need to believe them. The action of believing needs to occur in order for us to experience an emotional reaction. Right? A compliment itself can't affect us. An insult itself can't affect us. It's only when we believe it. So other people don't have the power to emotionally affect us. So let's look at it a little bit differently now. On the negative side, let's say. So imagine this untrustworthy person again. And imagine you're walking down the street and this untrustworthy stranger approaches you and says, "You're unworthy of love." How do you think you would feel in that moment? You've never interacted with this person before, and they're very untrustworthy. Well, you might be a little bit annoyed, but it's very unlikely to have a serious emotional impact on you. You're very unlikely to feel hurt or sad or ashamed or any of that. It's just, you might be like, "Get out of here," or something like that. So why wouldn't you feel hurt in this situation? Well, the reason is because you wouldn't believe them. You know they don't know you. How could they know you're unworthy of love or worthy of love? You don't trust their opinion. You don't believe it. And when you don't believe it, it's not going to create a strong emotion of any kind, or any emotion. But now, let's look at the scenario we actually fear. Imagine that you're dating somebody for a few months, or a few years or something, and you think you love them and all that. And then they sit down with you, and they tell you, "You are unworthy of love." How do you think you'd feel in that moment? You would probably be devastated. You would probably feel very hurt or angry and sad and all those types of things. It would probably be a very strong emotion. So why would you feel that way? Well, you would feel that way because this other person has spent a lot of time with you, so you likely believe their opinion to be true. Maybe their opinion helped you to believe, "I am worthy of love." So when they say, "I am unworthy of love," or that you are unworthy of love, you believe them and it brings you back down. So the comment itself, "You're unworthy of love," can't be what creates your emotion. Because if it was, let me fix the microphone. If the comment, "You're unworthy of love," created your emotion, then it would have had the same impact when a stranger said it to you. But that wasn't the case. Right? So what happens is when someone says you're unworthy of love, nothing happens. Then when you believe their opinion to be true, it worsens your opinion of yourself. Right? If you think, "I am worthy of love," it makes you feel worse about yourself, has worse thoughts about yourself. And when your opinion of yourself worsens, that's when you experience the feeling of hurt, or the feeling of a broken heart, as we call it. Right? It's just the worsening of your opinion of yourself. But nobody else has the power to worsen your opinion of yourself. Right? The only thing somebody else can do is speak words to us or commit actions. But words and actions don't do anything to us, as we saw. Right? If the words themselves created hurt, then it would do the same thing, regardless of what person it was. Right? Somebody else doesn't have the power to emotionally affect you. So in general, when we get rejected, somebody doesn't just say, "You're unworthy of love." What happens is they break up with us, reject us, and then we make a guess about what they think about us. And after we make a guess about what they think, then we believe our assumption to be true. Okay, so maybe that's a little hard to follow. So, for example, If somebody rejects you or breaks up with you or something like that, you think, they must think I'm not good enough. They must think something is wrong with me. Right? And then it doesn't stop there. That's fine. That even won't create any feeling. What creates the feeling and the hurt is the thought that comes afterwards, which says, if they think I'm not good enough, I must not be good enough. If they think there's something wrong with me, there must be something wrong with me. And that creates the hurt. Right? Not the rejection. It's our thoughts about it. It's our belief in the words. Rejection then itself doesn't create hurt. Believing a thought about it creates hurt. An insult doesn't create hurt. Believing our thoughts about it creates hurt. Right? So let's break it down. Let's say what this means, right? So why is this distinction important? The distinction between believing something and just hearing something. Well, what that means is that you don't have to fear anybody's words or rejection. You don't have to fear that, because that's not what hurts you. The only thing that hurts you is your own mind, your own thoughts. You don't have to fear what somebody says or does to you. That can't hurt you. That's impossible. Right? It's just the thoughts in our mind. To give an analogy here, when somebody rejects you, they're essentially handing you a knife. Gently handing you a knife. And then when you believe your thoughts about the rejection, you're cutting yourself. So you wouldn't fear somebody handing you a knife, right? Because there's no problem in that. It's what we do with it afterwards that creates our feeling of hurt. So, of course, until you know what to do with these thoughts, you're still going to feel hurt when somebody rejects you. Definitely, because those are the thoughts we've been trained to have. So if you want to not feel hurt, you don't need to fear getting rejected. You just need to fear your own thoughts in a way. You just need to actually address the thoughts that make you feel hurt. If you want to stop feeling hurt, if you never want to feel hurt, the answer isn't not to open up. The answer isn't not to love. The simple answer is to just address the thoughts that make you feel hurt. To stop believing that others' opinions are true. So if you want to do that, I'll be addressing that on my next video. In the meantime, you can feel free to love, because nobody can hurt you. Nobody can make you feel hurt. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.